ready for some football. I don't know about you. Who else could it be but your man Lou? Yeah.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Sunday Night Football Overtime. Packers, Lions, NFC North family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, but that's NFC North family business. And boy, was this a great way. Just like last year. Remember last year, Chargers, Raiders to end the season, Week 18, the crazy turn of events at the end of the game, went to overtime. Justin Herbert was spectacular to end regulation, to get to overtime. Raiders have a chance to, end in a tie, and they were really settling for a tie, and the Chargers wanted to call a timeout. So the Raiders was like, oh, it's like that. Kick the field goal, knock those boys out of the ranks of the postseason. This game was just as meaty and juicy. Two teams battling it out. Difference here is Lions already went into the game knowing they did not have a chance for postseason play. Seahawks had won roughly 40 minutes earlier in overtime over the Rams, and thus they were essentially playing to keep the Packers out of the postseason. This is why the NFL put this game on as the nightcap to end the season, because they knew the Lions were still going to play hard no matter what. That's just in their DNA. Disappointed or not, they came out and played like a team that had postseason aspirations on the line, and they took care of the Green Bay Packers in what was a fantastic football game between two teams that had a battle earlier in the year where, the Lions were able to beat the Packers, forcing Rodgers to turn it over 3 times, including twice in the red zone. But this game, to me, and it's a little disappointing, from this standpoint. I think the Lions are the more dangerous team, and they should be in the playoffs. But they had their opportunities. You can't go to Carolina, give up 300 yards rushing on the ground, and expect to make the playoffs. Like, that was the game. They beat Carolina, which they should have beaten Carolina. They were a much better and superior team to the Panthers. But like I said, the Lions are going to lion, and that was the game that essentially booted them from the playoffs. They can look back on their schedule, and as every team that misses the playoffs by one game does, you can look back at your schedule and say, man, what would have happened if we would have beat this team or that team? They had Detroit or Minnesota the first time in Minnesota, dead to rights, let them off the hook. Minnesota came back and won that game at the very end, less than a minute to go. They had their opportunities in a multitude of ball games, and some of them are going to stick out. You go to New England and you get clobbered by the Patriots and shut out. But it's the Carolina game for me. You control everything pretty much if you just run the table. And Carolina, they can't be the team that stops you from getting where you ultimately want to go. But even with that said, if the Rams are able to somehow beat the Seahawks today, they're in the playoffs. And I think, in my heart of hearts, that they could have beaten San Francisco. The 49ers are probably saying, hell yeah, we'll take another stab at Seattle. It's not easy to beat a team 3 times in one season. It's family business. They know you, all of that good jazz. However, I'm pretty sure they'll take their chances with Seattle over playing the Lions. I really think Detroit could have gone to San Francisco and beaten them. This team is dangerous, man. They score points in the red zone. I always tell you, if you want to know why an outcome was reached in a game, you need not look any further than 2 stats. 2 statistics do it for me every time. Why don't we take a look at those 2 statistics, shall we? Red zone efficiency, okay, and turnovers. Well, we know that the Lions did not turn the ball over, and the Packers turned it over twice in this game. So we already know that, okay? 2 of 5 for the Lions, which is not great, right? That last trip, so, I hate that they do that, but it counts. The end of the game ended in the red zone. So technically that's an opportunity that you didn't cash in, but so it's really 2 of 4 in the red zone. And it could have easily been 3 of 5. We don't know what would have happened on that final drive if they needed a touchdown. But they were 2 of 5. Packers were 1 of 2. That's the difference in the game. If the Packers are 2 of 2, they win the game. or it's a different outcome, or the Lions have to score on that final possession. But then you couple in the turnovers, 2 for Green Bay, none for Detroit, and there you have it. Those two stats together usually tell the story, and it did again in this game. This Lions team, man, I just tell you what, they're well coached. They are tough and physical. Everything that we saw in Hard Knocks from Detroit, you saw it this season. We saw the toughness. I think the word grit has to be around their organization on the walls and in of what is it, One Pride Lane or whatever it is. The word grit has to be like their mantra because it's on the walls everywhere in that building in Detroit. You saw grit. You saw toughness. You saw tenacity. You saw a team with perseverance. These are all the things that they talked about in Hard Knocks. Going to go through some tough trials and tribulations. You're going to go through some obstacles. It's not about getting hit. It's about what you do, how you respond. Do you get up off the canvas after you've been knocked out? They were 1-6. They finished the season 9-8. They when we look at highest scoring teams in the league, they're going to be up there. They scored 30. I'm anxious to see. I'm curious. How many times did the Lions score 30 plus this year? 30 or more. I'm going to say at least 6. Matter of fact, I'm going to go with 7. 7 times they did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 times this season they scored 30 or more. And of those 8, 1, 2, 3 of those were 40 or more. Okay. This is a dynamic and explosive team. And keep in mind, for a vast majority of the year, DeAndre Swift was banged up, playing hurt, not 100%. And they didn't have their first-round pick from Alabama out on the field until the final month of the season or so. So, in essence, they could have been even more dynamic had they been whole. And so, this is a dangerous team. They don't miss in the red zone very often. We saw Jamal Williams cash it in again. 18 rushing touchdowns, I think it was, or 17 rushing touchdowns, set the franchise record for most touchdowns in a single season for the Detroit Lions in their history, surpassing Barry Sanders in 1991 when he had 16. They were just phenomenal. Jared Goff has stabilized that position. When that trade was first made and Brad Holmes had just gotten to Detroit from LA with the Rams, the assumption was, oh, he's just doing the Rams a solid. Goff is a stopgap in Detroit. They're going to get all this draft capital, and they'll be able to draft a quarterback here. Somebody's got to be there while they stink, so that they can get to the point where they got all this draft capital and they're ready to pounce on their new quarterback. Boy, were we wrong. And look at the Rams. They suck ass, right? That draft pick is a lot greater than what the Lions thought it was going to be when the season started. So now all of a sudden you've got a top 10 pick that's not yours. You got another pick that's going to be right in that, 15 to 18 range. Then you've got Jared Goff, who you don't have to spend that top 10 pick on a quarterback now. Jared Goff has solidified that position for you. And now you can upgrade a position. Really, they're playing with house money. I'm pretty sure there's a position or two that they could, definitely use and upgrade at, but they're playing with house money, man. This is a gutsy performance. I thought the Packers were over aggressive, and it was fun to watch the Detroit Lions take advantage of that and make the Packers wrong at every turn. They shot themselves in the foot a couple of times with penalties. You had a chance to pick Rodgers off earlier. I was telling anybody that would listen, Kirby Joseph is the truth, man. I said he's a dog, and he's foaming at the mouth. He's that kind of dog. Had a pick. John Kaminsky flagged for hands to the face was the right call, negated that. You had the Williams touchdown negated on the penalty. So it was that the Lions definitely shot themselves in the foot with penalties in this game, but they didn't turn it over. They made timely plays. The 4th down stop when Green Bay decided to go for it early in the game, 3-0 score. Thought it was a bad decision by Green Bay. They made the stop there. You got the stops late in the game when you needed them to get the ball back to your offense. Down 16-13, you get the stop. You get the touchdown, then you get the interception. And what a ballsy call by Aaron Glenn to bring the house. This isn't the Aaron Rodgers that we've, have romanticized about for the better part of 15 seasons. This is not that Aaron Rodgers. Okay, this isn't the 2-time league MVP or consecutive MVP of the league the last 2 seasons. That wasn't that guy, that we saw. So you can all out pressure him and get away with it. But make no mistake about it, the Packers had their opportunities, from the Aaron Jones fumble to the drop by Dobbs on a dime from Aaron Rodgers. They had their opportunities in this game. Rodgers had an open receiver on a slant, and he throws it at his shins on a 3rd down, and they have to settle for a field goal. Mason Crosby misses a field goal. It wasn't an easy kick, but it's a makeable kick. He ends up short, hitting the crossbar and misses. They had their opportunities, but the Lions applied pressure. That's what this was all about. The Lions applied pressure, and the Packers did not respond. And that is a testament to Dan Campbell and his coaching staff. Ben Johnson as the OC, Aaron Glenn as the defensive coordinator. You see it all kind of come to fruition. They've got a good football team. That is a good, well-rounded team, and they're only going to get better. There's some areas that they could clean up, the secondary in particular at corner. When Jeff Okudah is healthy, that's a good unit back there, especially with Kirby Joseph, as I mentioned. But they could add some more, punch at the cornerback position. I think that might be something that they look to attack. I wouldn't be surprised if Joey Porter Jr. isn't the pick for them. Another Ohio State, Penn State corner. They already got Owarie on their team, Amani Owarie. But I could see them add another Penn State corner to the mix. That would really give them a formidable group on the back end. And they could get another guy opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Look out, But they got some stuff, man. On offense in particular, I know DJ Chark was a 1-year deal. If you can work something out to get him back, that'd be huge. Amon-Ra St. Brown's coming into his own. You got the 1st-round pick from last year from Alabama, who, we see what he is. We see the value in what he brings to the table. Khalif Raymond was huge for you this year. Had to catch, down to the 1 in this game on a big play. He was huge. The Jets game, he had the punt return for the touchdown. It's a really good. And then the tight ends, man. I mean, what more can I say? They've been outstanding. When you run the football as effectively as they've run it, especially in the red zone, a lot of credit needs to be given to the tight ends. And their tight ends have been blocking their ass. They traded TJ Hockenson. A lot of people forget this. They traded TJ Hockenson to the Vikings in the division. And they didn't blink. They did not blink. They got so much draft capital. They're strapped, man. I'm talking about picks coming out of every nook and cranny. Because you got to remember, they got 2 picks from that TJ Hockenson deal from the Vikings. I think a 2nd and a 3rd or something to that effect. For Hockenson services, not to mention the Rams picks that they have in their back pocket, their own picks. They're loaded, man. They're loaded. And they don't, and the same thing we said about the Eagles. The thing we presumed was, they're going to need those 1st-round picks that they've accumulated to draft a quarterback because Jalen Hurts isn't going to be it. Now that Jalen Hurts has established himself as a legitimate NFL starting quarterback, they don't need to spend those picks, that Saints 1st-round pick that they have, or they don't need to package up that Saints pick and their pick to go up. They can just sit where they are and make a selection. Same thing with these Lions. They don't have to package up anything to find Jared Goff's replacement. They got a guy. Offensive line came to life this year. What a big win. That's a statement win. That's a franchise-altering win. I wish it was a playoff berth win for them because they deserve it. And I honestly believe they would be better in the NFC playoffs. And that is a team that you would not have wanted to play. That is a team in the Detroit Lions that nobody would have wanted to play. They're going to be fun to watch for many years to come if they can keep the nucleus of that team together. And, these things are fleeting in the NFL. Ben Johnson's name is going to be hot this offseason as a head coaching candidate. I don't know what his temperament is. I don't know if he's going to interview well. But if he goes in and knocks it out of the park, I could easily see him being hired as someone's head coach this offseason during this hiring cycle. The job that they did in Detroit, phenomenal. So, big win for them. For Green Bay on their end of things, I just wanted to say that, one, they deserve to lose this game. I thought they were over-aggressive unnecessarily early in the game. It's one thing when you're right around midfield on a 4th and 1 to decide, all right, we're going to roll the dice. You were at your own 35. I mean, what are you doing? And then at that, you're going to run a jet sweep. Okay, cool. Lions were ready for it, stopped it. That led to a field goal to tie the game. You had momentum. You were up 3-0. Punt the football, make them drive the length of the field. They hadn't done it to that point of the game. Make them earn it on their own. You essentially gave them the football in field goal range. Then the turnovers. The Aaron Jones fumble might have been the biggest turnover of the game because at that time it felt like the Packers, and let me make sure I got this right, but at that time it felt like the Packers were in control of the game when Aaron Jones fumbled the football. So just so you guys know, Washington Commanders fans out there, it's official. Washington will have the 16th pick in the draft after the end of that Lions-Packers game. Washington officially has the 16th pick in the draft. Let's see. The fumble occurred when Green Bay was up 9-3, and they were already in field goal range. They were going for more points, and if they get a touchdown there and go up 16-3, they're going to win the game. They get a field goal there that puts Detroit in a tough spot. Now you're down 2 scores at 12-3, and now your backs are up against the wall. But that fumble preserved not only the lead at 6, but the Lions then took that fumble and turned it into a field goal of their own right before the half to make it 9-6 at halftime. So that was a big turn of events. That's at a bare minimum, a 6-point swing, easily could have been a 10-point swing. That's where I thought the game really changed there. Then the Packers missed a field goal. The Lions missed a field goal too, but I thought the Packers made too many mistakes. Rodgers was picked off twice in the game. One was called back due to a penalty, and then he was picked off again. They got after him. Aiden Hutchinson, that was almost a fumble. He was swiping at that thing. Rodgers never really felt him. They had problems blocking Aiden Hutchinson all night long. And you got to credit the Lions, man. But the Packers had their opportunities. Aaron Rodgers doesn't look like Aaron Rodgers. And so now the question begs, is he coming back? That's all they were talking about at the end of the telecast. Mike Tirico and Chris Collinsworth. Love Tirico to death, but boy, they were slobbing Aaron Rodgers down at the end. And I get it, And Rodgers for a while there was my guy. Of late, he's really irked the hell out of me. I think he's a drama. He loves the attention. He's an attention whore. He really milked that whole situation for all it was worth last offseason. And he was never leaving Green Bay. Or was it 2 off seasons ago? Whatever it was, he was never leaving Green Bay. I think it was last offseason. He milked the shit out of that situation. And I think he enjoys the limelight. And I think that the entire thing at the end, I'm gonna hold on to this jersey if that's accurate. I heard Mike Tirico at the end say that one of the young players for the Lions had asked Aaron if he could get the jersey, a jersey swap, and Aaron's like, I think I'm gonna hold on to this one, which could signify that this could be the end, and that was the last jersey I ever wore, and I want to keep it. But it could just be Aaron Rodgers doing the Aaron Rodgers thing. I'm not saying in the moment he's thinking, I'm not retiring, but I want them to think I'm retiring, because he could be contemplating that. And in the moment when you're banged up and you think your hand doesn't feel right, and it hasn't been right for much of the season, since I think the Jets game is when he hurt his thumb, and you've been dealing with that pain all year long, and it's affected your play, and you missed the playoffs, and you got a young team and guys are dropping passes, and in the moment, it can be really easy to say I'm done. This is why when you're contemplating retirement, they always tell you just take a few weeks, let your body heal up a bit, clear your mind, get away from the season, and then see how you feel. And if you still feel like you're ready to walk away, then you walk away, and you can do it in peace, But you make a decision right after the season, you end up like Tom Brady with some knee-jerk shit where you ultimately end up coming back. So take some time away. I think he's ultimately going to play again. I don't think he's done. I think in the moment he's frustrated. He told the cameraman to get out of the way, like, doing the extra shit, him and Randall Cobb, locking arms, and that's his buddy and all. That's one of his best friends. He got him back to Green Bay after he was with Dallas and Houston. All that shit's nice, fine and dandy, but I think he's going to play again when it's all said. I don't think he's done. I think he loves playing football still. I think he enjoys it. And if he plays golf with Brady, they do the little, match, golf match thing every year. And I'm pretty sure, all of these guys have talked to Peyton Manning. And this is why these guys keep hanging on, because Manning will be the first to tell you there's nothing like playing. There's no announcing. There's nothing that can replace, that can duplicate, replicate, that can fill the void of going out of the tunnel on a Sunday, Monday, or Thursday, being in the locker room with the guys. There's nothing that can replace playing. So if you can still do it, do it. And so I think Aaron is going to take heed to that. And I think he's going to be back. But we'll see. This could have been the last time we see Aaron Rodgers. I don't think it is. I think he's still got more football left in him, and I think he'll be back. But what a win for the Detroit Lions. A season sweep. When's the last time they did that? Because a season sweep requires them to beat Green Bay in Lambeau, which is something that for a very long time they didn't do. Stafford just beat the Packers in Green Bay probably like 5 years ago. That was the first time since like 91. Okay. So it had been a long time since they had won in Green Bay. They don't do it very often. So obviously they're not sweeping the Packers. That's a hell of an accomplishment. Sucks that it doesn't, culminate in a playoff berth. But shout out to the Seattle Seahawks for getting in. I'm happy for Geno Smith. I don't know if you saw the Geno Smith interview after the game where he was, choked up about the season and the opportunity that was in front of them. And that's a big win. It wasn't pretty. Like he said, it was an ugly win, but it was a win nonetheless. And he said, go Lions, take care of business. And I'm happy for Geno that he's getting this opportunity. I want to see what he does with it. I don't think they're going to beat the 49ers, but they got a shot. It's family business. We know how that goes. So shout out to the Seattle Seahawks. Yeah, we wrote them off. They were a joke. Remember when somebody said something, I want to say it was Drew Lock made a joke about tennis, and tennis shot back at him saying, we got to watch you play quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks for 17 games. So you shut up pretty much. And, he shut up after that. Like, touche, you got me. Because we thought they were going to be trash. Everybody did. Boy, were we wrong. Well, that's what coaching can do for you too. You need guys to step up like Geno did. I don't think any of us saw that coming, but that's what coaching can do for you. Wow. Let's get to the comment section. If you're out there, you want your comment read, use the hashtag LouieTLive to have your comment read on the air if it is pertinent. We'll get to as many of those as possible within the time frame that we're working with. If you want to jump straight to the front of the line, ensure that your comment gets read. Super chats are the way to do that. So, with that said, let's jump in here and go straight to work. Wolf of Odin, Philly Wolf 90. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, "What's up, brother? Fly Eagles fly, and thank you for Washington for blowing out Dallas starters with a rookie third string QB. Love your content, brother. Thank you. I appreciate you. And it was very refreshing to have that game turn out the way that it did. We did not see that coming. Fans, there were some that thought Washington could win. I thought those people were crazy, but they got it done. And it wasn't just like, oh, no, it was dominant. It was an ass thrashing. I mean, if you saw that game, which you were watching your game at that time, but if you watched how thoroughly we dominated Dallas, the score doesn't indicate how poorly they played and how badly we should have beaten them. We should have won. We should have put up 40. Literally, our kicker missed 2 field goals and an extra point, and our quarterback threw an interception at like the 8-yard line in the end zone. We were at like the 8, and he throws an interception into the end zone. Like, literally, we should have scored 40 on these boys, straight up. It was fun. I'm not gonna lie. But I traded a heartbeat for a playoff, opportunity, but it was fun. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, "As a Rodgers fan, this pains me. As a Dan Campbell fan, this pleases me. Guess I'll settle for continuing Geno's revenge tour." I was a massive Rodgers proponent. When we would have greatest of all time conversations, I would always, put him near the top, especially when you talk about this era of football. He's one of the best to ever do it in this particular era, but he's no longer there for me. The failures in the postseason have been too much for me to bear. I can't overlook them. He's had too many opportunities, especially in the last 3 to 4 years, where you got home field throughout. The one that sticks out like a sore thumb is 2021, or the 2020 season rather, where Tampa Bay had to come into your building and beat you, and you let them do it. But even last year, going out meekly into the night against San Francisco, with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback, I mean, these losses can't be overlooked when you talk about his legacy. It's not good enough. But, man, he's still a hell of a quarterback. Dan Campbell, that guy there, man. It's funny because I know Lions fans get tired of hearing about biting off kneecaps. I remember I had interviewed the Detroit Sports Talk guys earlier in the season when we played Detroit in week 2. And I brought up, in passing, I didn't want to focus on that because I know they hear it all the time. And when I said it, they said, "Oh, there it goes." Like they're used to hearing it. I know they're probably sick and tired of hearing about it because that comment overshadows what the job that Dan Campbell's been doing, which is a phenomenal job. Like, he's not going to the playoffs. Other teams have had more successful seasons, and so their coaches are going to be mentioned. But to me, Coach of the Year is the award. The essence of the award is for teams and coaches like Dan Campbell and Mike Vrabel and Brian Daboll in New York with the Giants, and what Pete Carroll did. You could argue this is Pete Carroll's best job of his career that he turned in this year, that they're in the playoffs. Like, that to me is the essence of what Coach of the Year, not a guy that goes 13-4 with a ton of talent like Nick Sirianni did in Philadelphia. Like, and he needs to be given credit, and he should receive some votes. But to me, the essence of that award is you gave a guy table scraps or lesser talent, and he maximized that talent and overachieved, or his team faced adversity and they overcame it. And what you thought before the season, the expectations you have for them, they exceeded them. A lot of people thought Philadelphia could be really good, not necessarily best in the league like they were for a stretch of time this year, but a lot of people thought with the moves that they made, if Jalen Hurts was good, and he was always the caveat. If he's good, the Eagles are going to be really good because they have a really talented roster that's been assembled. Dan Campbell and company, they had holes in their roster. They were supposed to be rebuilding. This wasn't supposed to happen. Brian Daboll wasn't supposed to be winning games. They were supposed to be rebuilding. And they didn't pick up the fifth-year option of Daniel Jones. And this was supposed to be Saquon Barkley's last year in New York. And they had all these bad contracts. They told, Kenny Galladay, who's probably making the most money on their team, you sit down, you suck. And they're playing guys like Isaiah Hodgins and all kinds of other players that you just look at. I mean, Cager is at tight end. This is a former, wide receiver in college. And this is what they're winning with. That's, to me, what the essence of Coach of the Year is about. I think Dan Campbell should be in that mix. Brian Daboll. They'll probably give it to somebody that won 12 or 13 games this year, and that's fine. But for me, if I had a vote, it'd be going to a guy like Dan Campbell or Brian Daboll. Geno's revenge tour continues. Wolf of Odin, Philly Wolf 90. Stand up. You are now the newest member of the MOBB. Really appreciate you, Mob. Y'all know what to do. Show Wolf of Odin some love. Welcome him with open arms. Show him how we do it here in the MOBB. So glad to have you on board. Look forward to chopping it up with you. Welcome to the squad. Wolf of Odin. All right. Red Wings 01. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, I never understood why so many people wrote off Goff after last year. Didn't think he was elite, but he did way better than most QBs in that situation. I'm guilty. I can't look away and act as if I wasn't one of those that just assumed that he was a stopgap to take the lumps for an organization that knew they were going to lose a bunch of games over the next 2 or 3 years and just wanted someone to be the face of that while they were compiling all of the draft capital that they needed and the ammunition that they needed to get in a position to draft the quarterback of the future. But Brad Holmes, when he made the trade, and I wasn't paying attention, I wasn't listening because I didn't believe him, but he said, I was in the room. I was a part of the brain trust that decided that Jared Goff was better than Carson Wentz and that we needed to select him number 1 overall. I was a part of that brain trust. So believe me when I tell you that this isn't a token trade. I'm not looking to do right by Matthew Stafford and help out my old organization by taking Jared Goff off their hands. I'm telling you, I believe in Jared Goff as a starting quarterback. And I think he can win for us and that we won't need a quarterback because we have Jared Goff. Well, he looks pretty damn good after the season Goff just turned in. That's for damn sure. I'm guilty as charged. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. My guy, Vincent Coe. First and foremost, congratulations to your Seattle Seahawks. You, my friends, are going to the postseason. I know you never thought this was going to happen this year. I didn't either. It was a cute story early in the season when you guys were playing good ball. But as a wise woman once said, all good things must come to an end. And I thought that, when you started to get ice cold and started losing games like to Carolina and things of that nature, that the end was near for your season. But somehow, some way you persevered. You won 2 straight to finish up the season and boom, you're in the postseason. And let's see what you can do now that you're there. You got a ticket. When they shut those doors, you'll be in there. All bets are off. Let's see what you do. But Vincent Coe says, Quay Walker is a goofy guy for real. So let's talk about it. I was waiting for somebody to bring him up. I knew someone would, which is why I didn't talk about it. But this is his second time being ejected. He got ejected on a Sunday night. It's crazy. He loses his mind, but he's a loose cannon. I've seen this guy in games where I'm going, Joe, bro, what are you doing? Chill. Like, and I think he's a fantastic football player. I think he's sensational in terms of his talent. Like, I think he's got like Devin White type of ability in terms of sideline to sideline speed and the ability to really impact the game. That said, dude's a head case. Got thrown out of a game against the Bills on a Sunday night earlier this season. Got thrown out of this game, and it's not just the fact that he got thrown out and the act that he committed. It's in the game that your team is playing for an opportunity to go to the playoffs. You can't do that. You can't do that. Not in a game of this magnitude. You cannot do that to your team. I don't know where his head was at. And every single time he did something stupid against the Eagles, it's always on Sunday night with him. And I just remember very vividly Matt LaFleur bringing him to the sideline and pointing to his head like, dude, use your, and you, my dad, Boss, y'all know him as Boss man. Boss always said I would find guys for stupid shit like that. I don't have time. I'm going to let y'all know at the beginning of the season, these are my expectations, and I'm finding dudes for stupid penalties because we're not going to be an undisciplined team. I don't know how that would fly with players. Like, you can't be finding me for penalties. I'm already getting hit over the head by the league for unsportsmanlike conduct and personal foul penalties. I'm already getting a manila envelope in my locker on Wednesday for that. I don't need you taking money out of my pocket as well. But I get where he's coming from because those types of penalties are unacceptable. Quay Walker, not only did you hurt the team by getting ejected, now they got to put in a backup linebacker that is nowhere near your level of play. But you took a situation where they were going to be on a third down. Keep in mind, they're down 16-13. You're trying to keep them out of the end zone, force a field goal so that you have a chance to win this game, whether it's 23-16 or 19-16. You want to put yourself in a position where, you can win with a field goal. That's why you need to stop. You picking up that personal foul penalty, that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, and getting ejected puts the football at like the 5-yard line. And of course, they end up running it in for a touchdown. It's dumb. It's selfish. It's a lack of awareness. There's a lot fundamentally wrong with that. And that's not his first time doing that. That's a problem for me. It's a big problem for me. Vincent Coe, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling it up. Who writes, we in the playoffs, Lou. Nobody expected us to make it at all, not even Russ. Nobody did. I don't care how much of a Seahawks fan you are. Before this season started, when you traded Russell Wilson, when you got Drew Lock in return, along with Noah Fant and Shelby Harris and some draft picks, everything you were looking at was saying, all right, this is us setting up for the future. We're going to take our lumps this year, but we'll be back next year. There was a lot of people forget there was a quarterback controversy. There was an actual battle, but because Drew Lock got COVID, I think Geno was going to win anyway, but because Drew Lock got COVID, he never got that start in the preseason game that he was going to get, which would have helped determine who was going to be the starting quarterback. I think it was going to be Geno anyway. Like I said, he knew the offense. He had been there. They were comfortable with him. But Geno, man, Geno. Oh, Geno. It used to be, oh, no. Now it's go, Geno. So unbelievable run this year, man. From starting the season off like 6-2 to then losing like probably like 4 out of 5 to then winning, the final 2 games of the season to get to 9-8. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Wolf of Odin, I see you saying, the Lions have a better conference record. Those 2 teams played head-to-head this year. Seattle beat them in Detroit 48-45 earlier this season. That's why Seattle is in over Detroit. Red Wings 01. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, with the way a lot of these rookie QBs have performed, we may look back on this class as being much better than we originally thought. I don't know if I'll feel any differently. Who else is a rookie quarterback? We'll see what Sam Howell is. I told anybody that would listen, he was the wild card to me of this draft class. I wasn't thrilled with any of the other quarterbacks. I thought Kenny Pickett was a legit first-round pick, and where he went was right around where I thought he could go, in the 20s. Didn't think he was a top half of the first-round type of quarterback, but I didn't think anybody else was worthy of being a first-round pick. I did think someone would go in the second. No quarterback went in the second. You didn't have quarterbacks going back off the board until the third, and it was Ritter, and it was Corral, and it was Malik Willis, all in the third round. And then I don't think you had another quarterback go into the fifth. I could be skipping over someone, but it was Sam Howell was like one of the first picks of the fifth round. And when it's all said and done, Kenny Pickett going to be solid, I think, in this league. I don't think any of those third-round quarterbacks are going to pan out. Ritter, I already told you, I think he is the next coming of Alex Smith / Ryan Tannehill. You can win a lot of football games with Desmond Ritter. You're not going to win anything of substance with him. But you put a good defense around him, you get some skill guys, you get a good play caller, and Desmond Ritter can win you 10, 11 games. You're probably going to lose your first playoff game, though, every year. But he'll put you in a position, where you can get to the playoffs just about every year. And then there's Sam Howell. Was Bailey Zappi a part of this draft class as well? I think he was. He was okay. I think that was fool's gold, but I don't think this draft class is going to be, you're not going to look back on this draft class and be like, oh my God, it was way better than what we thought. I don't feel that way. Can it be a lot closer to the 2021 draft class that we made a big deal about with the 5 first-round picks? Ultimately, it may be closer to that draft than we think. And that's the crazy part, is how bad that draft may end up being is, I think, the bigger thing, because we don't know about Trey Lance. Trevor Lawrence is what we thought. Zach Wilson has been a massive disappointment. He may be broken to the point of no repair. We'll see. Trey Lance is a big question mark, hasn't, been able to stay healthy in his first 2 seasons. Mac Jones, they almost made the playoffs. I think Mac's going to be fine. And I said that I was worried about his coordinator situation. I'm still worried about that situation, but even with all the dysfunction and turmoil, they still almost made the playoffs. And then there's Justin Fields. And, I think he put a lot of concerns to rest, but I still think he struggles as a passer. I still believe that his legs are what scares people, and because of that, you overreact to his legs, and now guys are running open and he's completing some passes to open receivers. I still don't think he's threading needles and making all kinds of, throws, and then I think he's still missing easy throws. I still think there's a lot left there to be desired. But in that same breath, they haven't done enough to supply him with the weapons that are necessary for you to compete at a high level consistently in this league. So I really think that the jury's still out on all of those quarterbacks, but in particular Justin Fields, because I think he's wet the palate now. You want more, and you want more than just the runner. You want him to be able to hurt teams with both his legs and his arm. We'll see what that draft class turns out to be, because that's the bigger story to me. The 2021 draft class. Can 2022's draft class, which we just killed, I mean, we crushed it, can it end up being equal, or slightly lesser value than the 2021 draft class? If it is, then that's an indictment on the 2021 draft class, more so than it is how good the 2022 draft class is. Anyway, I digress. Rarely even. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy, Ree. Thank you for the super chat. Washington football enjoyer. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, we should have made the playoffs. They waste our time. I mean, that's the frustrating part, is we should have been playing in this game at 8:30 tonight. We should have been the 8:20 game. We should have been on Sunday Night Football. That should have been a win, and you're in. Dallas playing for, a shot at the, NFC East. I mean, we would have known that the Giants had already lost and the Eagles won. So I don't know if Dallas would have had anything to play for in particular, but that's nor here nor there. The bottom line is we didn't make the playoffs, so I don't want to lament over that. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Ree, who writes, what up, Lou? What's going on, Ree? Says playoff bound like a quarter pound. Losing record, but hey, beggars can't be choosers. Look, I already told you. Don't nobody give a shit about your record when you get to the postseason. When you get that ticket, they shut that door and they lock it. All records are and slates are wiped clean. You are now 0-0. Okay? And you got a home playoff game against a Cowboys team that just limped into the show, right? Everybody's asking them, what's wrong with you? They walking in with a limp. You all right? You good? You know this is a party, right? You might want to sit down for a second. So you got a shot, because just 2 weeks ago, we were talking about, hey, you should be fighting to get the 5 seed. Because whether it's Carolina or Tampa Bay, that's a dub. Not so fast, my friends. Brady's starting to get into a little rhythm. That game against Carolina might have really done them some good, because Brady was missing Mike Evans on those deep balls, and it was really starting to cause a lot of frustration on that sideline. That game, they got into a bit of a rhythm. Brady threw another touchdown pass today before he got out of the game. There may be a little semblance of them coming to life offensively. With the way Dallas is turning the ball over, you're going to create at least one, possibly upwards of 2 or 3 turnovers. These Cowboys are turning it over every week, and Dak is definitely going to give you one interception. Okay, he leads the league for a reason. Man's turning it over at an alarming rate. So you're going to have a chance in that game, as long as you don't do stupid shit. You take care of the football, you take advantage of opportunities that Dallas provides you, I think you can beat them again, just like you did in week 1. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, grateful for football, Lou. I'm struggling. Every time I think I'm heading in the right direction, I end up in a place I never knew could feel this bad. Hang in there, brother. Hang in there. And we're going to have our talk too. All right. Hang in there. Football is temporary, though. So we got whatever's going on, we got to fix that, because your Buccaneers could be done next week, and then football will only be on for 3 more weeks thereafter. I mean, there is the XFL, but it's not the NFL. But anyway, we're going to talk. I didn't forget about you. Hang in there, brother. Ree says, first of all, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, Todd Bowles looks like he asked for the manager at the store, but not to complain, but just to praise how well the staff is doing. Hey, Todd Bowles he's something else, man. He is something else. Agent Starface. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Sam gives us the best chance next year because we won't have to use draft capital, etc. on QB and use every possible resource to fill holes, which will ultimately give us the best chance to win. We have a QB. I won't go that far in, putting exclamation points on we have a quarterback. I told you, I stay away from making definitive statements after a sampler, which is what today was. What I will say is that every point that you made prior to making that definitive statement is one that I agree with 110%. Sam is probably the best option for us moving forward in the immediate future because you don't have to do anything rash. He's under contract for 3 more years on a rookie deal, which is when you want to try and take advantage of winning with a quarterback, because at some point, if that guy is legit, you're going to have to break him off with some serious bread, and it's going to impact your ability to bring other players into the fold and keep some of the guys that you want to keep on your roster. So while Sam Howell is in year 2 of a rookie deal, you got to take advantage of it and see if you can't milk this thing for all it's worth. And while this window is open, you take advantage. You allocate resources to positions that need help. You don't spend draft capital moving up and packaging up picks to go get a quarterback. You don't have to give away picks to, say, the Raiders for Derek Carr. You don't have to eat that massive salary that comes attached to Derek Carr. You don't have to go after Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't have to do any of that stuff. Here's a guy already on your roster, already knows your system, even though I'd like it to be a new system because I'd like a new offensive coordinator. But because the coordinator and the coach most likely aren't going anywhere, they're going to be here, that all kind of favors Sam Howell. So, yeah, I kind of agree with that. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, Matt LaFleur looks like a dude who just is using football as a stepping stone to kickstart his male modeling career. I don't know if I like that one. I don't think I like that one. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Chris writes, my worry is lame duck Ron mortgaging our future chasing Carr. I wouldn't put it past him. I would not. Ron is so hell-bent on finding a QB that I already told you he was desperate last year. He may be even more, because now if new ownership is coming in here, he knows he's only going to get one shot. He's been through this before where ownership change takes place. He gets 1 year, Cam gets hurt, he gets fired. He already knows how this works. He's no dummy. So if he knows that, and he runs the organization with no owner, he literally runs the organization now. There's no one above him until new ownership comes. With that said, if I know I'm in charge and this is my one shot, I'm going to go get a guy that I think is going to give me the best shot to win. And that guy may, in his mind, be Derek Carr. And I told you, he's going to have a long sit down with Jack Del Rio on Derek Carr and ask what kind of a player he is, what kind of a locker room dude. And do you think he would be a great fit here? And Del Rio's going to endorse the shit out of Derek Carr, and Ron's going to go after him. I think that is a real thing. Now, will he get him? You heard what David Carr, the brother of Derek Carr, said on NFL Total Access. I played that for you on Commanders Nightly News. You heard what he said. So I don't know if our situation is a stable one and a situation that Derek leaving Vegas, which wasn't stable, with ownership issues at one point. I don't know if this is the place he's looking for. I still think it's New Orleans or Tampa Bay if Tom Brady isn't back. I think, and to a lesser degree, maybe Tennessee or someone like that. But I think Tennessee's looking for a young guy. We'll see. But I think it's one of those NFC South teams when it's all said and done. But you're not wrong. I wouldn't be shocked if he went chasing after him. And Condo P, Miss Perry, just said something that is, which we know with most of the big name QBs in the league, he has a no trade clause. So he gets to veto any trade to a team that he doesn't want. This isn't Matthew Stafford, who didn't have that, who, Washington could have conceivably gotten if they could have outbidded the Rams. But, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, all these guys that we've gone after in recent years, and now you probably add Derek Carr, all those guys, Jimmy Garoppolo, no trade clause, So, Agent Starface, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Who writes, Sam should have started week 3. He opens up the offense. You can't play that game. You can't play the revisionist history, looking back on the season and saying where we should have inserted this, because you don't know what Sam would have done. Sam could have totally imploded and been horrible for this team. You don't know what would have happened. Again, this was a sampler. Don't take the sampler and extrapolate it over, a 17-game season and assume things that you can't be assured of, because you don't know. You just don't know. He's a rookie. You saw the interception he threw in the end zone. That's a bad interception. There's no way that ball was getting in there, no matter what he did. Ron was talking about, he's made that throw a million times. Where did he make that throw? There were 3 Cowboy defenders. Where was he going to put that football? There's nowhere for that ball to go. That's a no-no. But those are the growing pains of a young quarterback. There was plenty more where that came from. So he does open up the offense with his athleticism and his legs. And that is something you have to account, which is what we thought Heineke could do, which was so disappointing that he chose not to. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, my Bucks versus Dallas under the lights. Monday Night Football, can't ask for nothing better. Oh, they did release the schedule. Okay, I need to see if I can't track that down. Here we go. All right. So playoff schedule and seeding has been released. So wild card weekend looks like this. I already know that the AFC South, the Jacksonville game is going to be first. That's going to be the 4:30 game on Saturday. They always put that game on first. So, I got the gas face. So let's go back and see. So the 49ers and Seahawks are Saturday at 4:30. That is a big change for the league. The league is actually admitting that there is some star power in the AFC South now with Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars. And not only that, the Chargers with Justin Herbert has turned into must-see TV as well. And so that prompted them to say, hey, nobody's really clamoring to see Brock Purdy or Geno Smith. So we'll put that game on first. Wow. That is a sharp turn, but it's a good acknowledgement because who doesn't want to see Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert do battle? I do. I'll sign up for that under the lights. So Seattle at San Francisco is the first game of the playoffs to get it started in Wild Card Weekend on Saturday at 4:30. The nightcap, as I just mentioned, Jacksonville hosting the Chargers on Saturday night. Then Sunday, we start off with the Dolphins at the Bills, 1 p.m. So that's more family business, AFC East variety there. Then you go Sunday, 4:30 with the Giants at the Vikings. Okay. And then you cap off Sunday night with Baltimore at Cincinnati. So a lot of family business in Wild Card Weekend. Yikes. You got 1, 2, 3 games of family business variety in week 1 of the playoffs, or the Wild Card Weekend, I should say. That's crazy. And then, as Reed just told us, Monday night, Cowboys at Tampa Bay, Monday Night Football. Wow, that is going to be a hell of a matchup. Tom Brady and the Bucs hosting the Dallas Cowboys on a Monday night to wrap up Wild Card Weekend. Wow, that is going to be fun stuff. Giants at Vikings on Sunday at 4:30. This is going to be some good stuff, man. I cannot wait. Bart Scott can't wait. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, the way I see it, we needed our issues to be exposed in order to be corrected. A playoff berth would just prolong the lie. Hashtag or HTTC. You are assuming that the organization is going to admit the things that they struggle with. I think you're giving them too much credit. A lot of the issues that we had this season have been issues for quite some time, and they didn't fix it. We had a late season bye that should have given them an opportunity. As we hear this term all the time when it comes to a bye week, but you have a chance to self-scout, right? Self-reflection. What are the things we do well? What are the things we don't do well? What do we need to improve upon? Which strengths can we continue to build upon? We didn't do any of that shit. We got worse after the bye week. And they clearly singled out things that needed to be improved upon, and they didn't. So you're assuming that they're going to be able to clean up some things that they struggle with, and I think you're giving them too much credit. I think you're giving them too much credit. But we'll see. Mike Stevenson II, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, what's up, Lou? What's up, Mike? Who's the best matchup we could ask for? If you're trying to advance, you want Seattle to beat San Francisco. Takes the biggest threat to your Super Bowl trip out of the equation, and you would get Seattle at home, which is a team I think you can handle. So if you're looking for the path of least resistance, Seattle taking out a family member would be an early, I can't say early Christmas gift. It'd be a late Christmas gift. I'll call it that. So yeah, that's what that's what you should be rooting for. Seattle to take out San Francisco. That would, I won't say it will clear the path for you, but boy, it would make the path a lot less rocky and daunting, to say the least. Jay Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jay Lee writes, Mike Tomlin is amazing. Too bad we have to watch Skylar Thompson in the playoffs. I know, man. Also, players are disgruntled over Scott. Any chance Ron boots him? I mean, there's a chance. Highly unlikely, but there's a chance. I don't think Scott's going anywhere. They gave him an extension in the offseason for a reason. I think that there are some things Scott has done that I don't think Ron necessarily approves of. But I don't know if it raises to the level of being fired for them, like we view them. I think Ron is comfortable with Scott. Doesn't see the faults like we do. Doesn't see the poor situational awareness or the lack thereof. Doesn't see some of the things that we see with Scott Turner, the predictability, the inability to get the hands in the football in the hands of playmakers at the right time, the inability to utilize, certain aspects of players' game or, characteristics and attributes. You got 6'6", 6'5" targets, and we don't throw any back shoulder fades or, fades or jump balls to him in the end zone. There's a lot fundamentally wrong with Scott Turner. But I don't know if Ron necessarily sees it that way. Mike Tomlin is amazing. And we got to pray that one of those quarterbacks for the Dolphins is going to be ready to go. Don't rule out Tua, but just give me Teddy Bridgewater and I'm okay. I really don't want to watch Skylar Thompson. Gutsy performance, got it done. I really don't want to watch that again. Let's see. Chris, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Chris writes, can't wait for McCarthy to be fired Tuesday. Well, he won't get fired Tuesday. They got a playoff game on. Oh, you're talking about next Tuesday. It could happen. Like those old Burger King commercials. Hey, it could happen. Yeah, I could see that. I don't think it's gonna happen. But was it Burger King or McDonald's? I think it's McDonald's. McDonald's. Hey, it could happen. It was McDonald's. Washington football enjoyer. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Who writes, how do you analyze Kendall Fuller? Is he CB1? No, I think he's a high-level CB2. I like Kendall Fuller a lot. I told you he's one of the most cerebral, smart football players on our team. He understands the cornerback position. Does he always make plays? No. But he's so aware. He knows what's going on. He comes from a football family. All of his brothers have played in the league, starting with his older brother, his younger brother. He's got two older brothers that made it before him, then his, another brother. Like, I think he might be the youngest of the group. It might be one younger one. But all in all, it's a football family. He gets it. He gets it. So I don't understand the Kendall Fuller hate. Never have, never will. Because I know good football players when I see him. Is he great? No. That's why I said he's not a cornerback one. But he understands, which is why you can play him at safety. To me, he's one of those dudes that will have a long career because when he's done playing corner, like he can't run fast enough physically, he can't play corner anymore. I think he can make a seamless transition to safety. But no, I don't think he's CB1. I think he's a CB2. All right. We got time for about 5 or 10 comments. Kevin the PRF writes, you're the GM. Fields for a semi-haul or Stroud for a haul? I would, if you're going to pay, you might as well pay the maximum amount and get CJ Stroud. I think CJ Stroud is an all-around better player than Justin Fields. I think he's a better prospect. I think most people would agree with that. Like, Fields could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, but he didn't go till whatever, 11, 12, or wherever he went for a reason. CJ Stroud isn't getting past 2. He's either 1 or he's 2. And there's a reason, because people view him as a better prospect. No, he's not the athlete that Justin Fields is, but he's a much better thrower of the football with some athleticism mixed in. So I just go ahead and pay the haul. All right. Let's see. I got a super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Joe Rockhead J. My guy, Joe Rockhead J. I'm not sure. This might be a double up. Double up. I'm not quite sure. So we're just going to double up. When in doubt, double up. J-Pat looked good. You willing to give a double O? This seems real luckish to me. Because I don't know who J-Pat is. And you're not going to get me to say, who's J-Pat? This seems real luckish. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to leave that alone. You're going to have to spell it out for me. I ain't going there with you because that seemed real luckish. right there. So let's get back to the top with Niners fan. Swept the Rams last year and lost in the postseason. I'm definitely scared that happens again. Tough to beat a team 3 times in a year. It is, but you're the better team. The Rams were due. You had beat them like 6 or 7 straight times. You were due for a loss. That's not this. You're the better team. You can beat a team. It's hard to beat a team 3 times in a season. I agree, but you're the better team. Yeah, I think you'll get it done. Oh, it was Jared Patterson. I see all the comments saying Jared Patterson. I had to make sure. That seemed real luckish. So I had to make sure. Anytime I don't see luck, he's not in the comment section. And then somebody asks something that seems really weird. I told y'all, I'm on high alert. Better safe than sorry. So Jared Patterson, Joe Rockhead, you asked me about Jared Patterson. I'm not offering up a double O but I was harsh on him. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm not offering up a double O because clearly they felt the same way that I did. He didn't make the team, and he hasn't played. This was his first game playing this year on offense. So clearly they didn't feel like he was better than Jonathan Williams in their mind. I disagree with that. I think he's a better back than Jonathan Williams. They were trying to force him on us in his rookie season as a do-it-all type of back. And he may be able to do a lot of things, but I like him as a runner. And he showed me some stuff today. And he looked spry. And again, maybe it's week 18. You haven't played all year long. Everybody else is worn down, and you coming in here, you ready to go. But he looked good. I got to give him that. Beast Mode says, do you like there's a playoff game on Monday night? I'm old school. I don't mind it. I like it. I don't mind it at all. I don't mind it. The more the merrier. More football is good for me. So yeah, I don't mind it at all. HHC Lunar. Thank you. Writes, Lions fight so hard for Dan Campbell. This Packers team deserved to go nowhere but home. I couldn't agree more. Speaking of which, I'm gonna I'll wait till I'm done. But I'm about to troll somebody real hard, probably for the next day and a half, to the point where he gonna probably try to talk some shit. But then I'm like, hey, we beat y'all in week 7. Shut your mouth. Beast Mode writes, Rodgers looked at the crowd like it's his last time there as a Packer. And somebody in the comment section said that they're a Packers fan and Aaron Rodgers just wrapped up his presser and they think he's done. I think he's got all of y'all fooled. And he could have me fooled. I just know Aaron Rodgers loves theater, right? Like, he's a movie buff. He enjoys, all of this extracurricular stuff. He enjoys that people are going to be talking about, is this his last game? He soaks all of that stuff up. He lives for that stuff. So I don't think he's done. And I think he's going to milk this. Is he done? Isn't he done? I think he's going to take all of that in, soak it all up, all the attention that he's going to be getting all off season about whether he's done or not. I'm pretty sure he'll issue a statement here shortly, maybe even tomorrow when they do their exit interviews, where he'll say, hey, I'm going to make sure I notify the Packers early enough so that they can make a decision on what they want to do, which, that's only right. That's the right thing to do. But, he's going to milk this shit. That's just how I feel. I could be wrong, and he could be leaning towards retirement. Losing sucks. Not playing to the level that you're capable of sucks. But I think some of that also had to do with his hand being injured. So let's see what happens. HHC Lunar says Packers losing elimination games in Lambeau. Name a better duo. That's a good one. Good one. Joe Rockhead J, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes Jared Patterson, Lou? See, I told y'all about that doing that shit. You could have spelled out Jared Patterson the first time. All right. You didn't have to put J-Pat. Who calls him J-Pat? Okay. You got me over here thinking about quarterbacks and all. I'm like, J-Pat. It seems real luckish. Because you're starting to make up shit. He says, I vowed not to do that. Well, but this is it. See, that's the thing is you may not have signed up for that, but when luck strikes, it's not about what you vowed not to do. It's what luck decided to do. Kyle Donovan, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Kyle writes, I'm a Jags fan, and I think you should roll with Howe. Cut Wentz. Keep Taylor as a backup. I have friends who are diehard Commanders fans. I live in Northern Virginia. Good luck next year. That's the plan. That's what I have already mapped out as the best possible scenario for the Commanders in the offseason. First of all, Wentz is done in Washington. I assure you that he has played his last snap in Washington. So that's not something that we really have to concern ourselves with. Taylor Heineke, on the other hand, is a free agent. I don't think he goes anywhere else if Scott Turner's back. My assumption is that Scott Turner will be back. Thus, my assumption is Taylor Heineke will be back. We know Sam Howell's going to be back. He's a rookie, so he'll be going into year 2. And the real question isn't about those 3 quarterbacks, because I honestly believe that 2 out of the 3 will be back, and we know the 2 out of the 3. The question is, do they go aggressively after a veteran quarterback or not? That is the question to be concerned with. I think they do go after a veteran. We'll see how it goes. But should they not come away with the one that they want, I do think that just rolling with Sam Howell is acceptable. 2 years ago, it wasn't okay to just come back with Taylor Heineke. Last year, it wasn't okay to just come back with Taylor Heineke. Remember, after the 2020 game in the playoffs against Tampa Bay, we didn't have a single quarterback on the roster other than Taylor Heineke. Kyle Allen moved on. Alex Smith was gone. It was just Taylor Heineke. So they had to do something. So you add in Ryan Fitzpatrick, and they had like a undrafted guy. Steven Montez was still on the roster, I think. So then you go into 2022 after 2021 was disappointing with the finish. No more Fitzpatrick. Well, it's just Heineke again. You can't go into the season with just Heineke again, right? So this time they trade for Wentz and they draft Sam Howell. Well, Wentz didn't work. You're not just reduced to Heineke this time around. You can actually come back and say, hey, we can roll with Sam. We'll see. We'll see what they decide to do. It'll be interesting. Duncan Wright, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, your session of pigskin activity is now over, so please sit and enjoy. I will sit and enjoy. I always make sure I keep the seats warm for everyone who is actually participating in postseason activities. So I'll keep your seat warm. Got the giant seat right here next to me. They're usually already on the couch with me when the postseason takes place. And Dallas usually joins us maybe a week after the postseason gets underway. So no worries. You'll all be on the couch with me at some point. I'm just starting it off by myself. Jay Lee, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Jay Lee, who writes, B.O.B. back in the NFL with Patriots. Bengals are scary. I don't know who B.O.B. is. Bill O'Brien? Maybe. Bill O'Brien was the offensive coordinator at, was he the offensive coordinator at Alabama? Seems like if you want a job, go to Alabama, be their offensive coordinator, and you're bound to get a job somewhere, whether it's in college or the NFL. I don't know, but I've always said this about former Patriots assistants. You can always go home. You can always go home. Bill always gives his dudes an opportunity, even if they try to shit on him when they leave. He always gives you an opportunity to come back. The only one I think he really didn't have a good relationship after they left was Eric Mangini. Everybody else, they were able to come back if they wanted to. Anyway, I digress. All right, we about to get out of here. We hit our hour and 20-minute mark. So we about to roll out. HHC Luna writes, Eagles almost lost to Davis Webb, LOL. Hey, they were struggling. They asses was struggling today. Look, they need that week off. They truly do. I'm going to tell you this right now. If the Giants had played Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, they would have lost today. I was not impressed with the Eagles. But at the end of the day, they got the job done. That's all that matters. It didn't need to be pretty. They just needed to have one more point than the Giants today, and they did. So they go home. They lick their wounds because you could tell Jalen Hurts was not right. He was not right. He didn't want to get hit. He actually got sacked a couple of times in this game, but when he would run, he would slide or he would make a beeline for out of bounds. He was not trying to get hit today. So that's a huge part of his game. And it's not like he'd be running dudes over, but he's not contact averse like he was today. So clearly they need that week off. I think they could be in trouble, though. I think they can be in trouble. But we'll see what happens. John Livingston, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB, who writes, Hines, poetic, 3 years, 3 months since last return for 3. I was waiting for Nyheim Hines to make an impact on that team. I was like, I know this trade isn't going to go in vain. He's too good of a football player. When is he going to do something that impacts this team? And I did not know it would be in the returns game. Thought it would be as a pass catcher. But wow, what a time for Nyheim Hines to announce his arrival in Buffalo. Twice, though? I mean, you know how hard it is in today's NFL to return a kick for a touchdown? Like, how many do we even have this year in the league? And he does it twice in a game? I'd like to know, when is the last time 2 kicks were returned in the same game for a touchdown? If I had to guess, I'd say Cordero Patterson probably did it at some point in his career. Ree, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. My guy Ree writes, Carr would be fun with Evans and Godwin. I'm telling you right now, if Tom Brady retires, that is the perfect spot for Derek Carr. And I think that's where he would try to force a trade to go. And he has a no trade clause. So he can strong arm his way to wherever it is he would like to be. And I think Tampa Bay makes the most sense if there's no Tom Brady there. So, and he is not afraid to throw the deep ball. And he actually throws a very, very soft and catchable deep ball. So he's maddening now. Understand that, Ree. He'll take you back to your Jameis days with some of the shit he does, but he's also capable of, being a potential MVP candidate. We've seen that from him before. You give him those types of weapons, you protect him. He can do some damage, but just know he's going to do some dumb shit too. Rip 21 Meest Sean Taylor. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, Colt McCoy had one start in 2019, so 10 QBs for Terry. Was Colt on that team in 2019? Was he really? I thought Colt left once Jay left. And, well, Jay started 19. So, yeah, Colt probably was on that team. Huh. We had already gotten to 10. So that would make it 11 if what you're telling me is accurate. And Colt got a start. Assuming that wasn't like end of the season. Well, no, it wouldn't have been end of the season because Terry missed the final game of his rookie season. But Colt wouldn't have been starting that game. That would have been Dwayne starting that game. So, well, I don't know. Dwayne got hurt, didn't he? And missed the end of the season? I think he did. I'm not sure. It's either 10 or 11 quarterbacks. If Colt McCoy started in 2019 in a game in which Terry played, then it's 11 because we got to 10 already. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for being a member of the MOBB. Who writes, Lord Brunson can go eat sausage. The F out of here. Why are you bringing up LB for? What do you do? What do he do to you? Y'all are stupid. I can't with y'all. Anyway, I digress. You guys, get out of here. The playoffs are set. What a regular season that was. That was fun. A little bit funner for others than some, but at the end of the day, that was a lot of fun. And I can't imagine the postseason not being even better because there are, especially in the NFC side of the bracket, all hell can break loose. We have no clue. I've been saying this before the season started. I said, look, the NFC is wide open. I said, really, the league is wide open, but the NFC in particular is wide open, which is why I wanted my team to have a shot. Well, they don't have a shot, but the shit is still wide open. It starts on Saturday, rolls through Sunday, into Monday. Bart Scott. Can't wait. We'll talk more about it during the course of the week. Until then, though, enjoy the rest of your evening. Lions, go to Green Bay. Complete the season sweep of the Green Bay Packers 20-16, eliminating the Packers from postseason contention, giving the Seattle Seahawks the 7th and final seed in the 2022 NFL playoffs and the final seed in the NFC playoffs. They will go to San Francisco in the first game of Wild Card Weekend on Saturday at 4:30 to take on the 49ers. And so the Lions sweep the Packers with the win, missed the postseason at 9-8, but what a hell of a job turned in by Dan Campbell and his staff. So that's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. Until next time, you guys have a good one. Take care. And as always, God bless and good night.